how to delegate more effectively to your marketing team. You hired a marketing team, but you're still the one making all the decisions. Here's why. Effective delegation in marketing in your business means documenting the system and the process, delegating it, and not having to do it over and over again on your own. By the end of this video, you're going to have a delegation system that will make your marketing team autonomous. When the pandemic happened, we started to see this move away from folks who were outbound marketing. They were going after it. They were telling their story. They were generating leads, which is the #1 goal of marketing, by the way. And not brand standards, not branding, all of that stuff. It's lead generation. And in doing all that, instead of becoming business developers where they're cultivating new business, what they became is order takers. They were bellied up at the bar, just waiting for people to come to them and just taking orders. Now, some industries did not do well during the pandemic, but particularly in the construction industry, they were just taking orders at that point. And what it did is it made lazy marketers. And so those marketing teams, once the market started to shift, started to come back to the owners and the leaders of the business and go, what do we do? Now, they wouldn't say, what do we do? Because then they would out themselves. But they would ask questions that were bend around questions, functionally asking the question of, what do we do now? Because they got so used to bellied up at the bar taking orders, and now they actually had to go cultivate business to generate new leads. So if you want to delegate more effectively in your marketing team, first thing you've got to understand is leads are the primary desire of marketing. This is where everything leads within marketing. And so if you want to preach one message to your team, the first message you have to preach is you are here to generate this. You're not here for impressions. You're not here to make us look good. You're not here for branding. You're not here for any of that stuff. Now, all of those things are helpful for this one thing, is generating leads. That is your mission as a marketer, is to generate leads, is to create people who are a qualified lead, they're ideal clients for us, and get them in a metaphorical room so we have the opportunity to deliver our mission to them. So how do we do that? Well, we call it the PTA model. In order to create this autonomous team who's going to be your army to go out and to generate leads. The first thing we've got to do is we've got to process every step of the marketing system. Now, there are 4 core systems in every business. We call it the MSOA. And so if you take the MSOA, marketing, sales, operations, and administration, accounting, HR, that sort of thing. And so we've got those 4 systems. Now within each system, we've got multiple processes. You might have 10 processes in your marketing. You might have 5 in your sales. You might have 200 in your operations. But there are different processes there. And we've got to be able to document those processes and then create those into a methodology that these people can start to use to generate leads. So you've got your marketing team. Might be one person, might be an outsourced fractional person, might be a team of 5 or 3 or whatever it might be. So you've got your team here. They're responsible for one thing, leads. Not any of this other stuff down here. But in order to get those leads, there are certain effective things like website management, LinkedIn management, social media channel management, outreach, BNI, face-to-face. We really break marketing down into 2 categories. Number 1 is air support. Number 2, ground game. Now, if you look back at your business, unless businesses are willing to spend usually 5 and 6 figures on social media marketing, most businesses generate their clients from the ground game, face-to-face interaction. Getting in front of somebody, having a meeting, going through the proposal process, whatever that might be. So you ask, what's the point of the air support? Well, the air support provides the credibility to the ground game, because when you meet somebody in person, what are they going to do next? They're going to look you up. And so when they look you up online, that's where your air support comes in to give you credibility based on what they met in the ground game. Now, it can work the opposite way as well. So if they see you first in the air, then they're going to want to meet you on the ground. And so air support and ground game, but generally, leads that come through these 2 methods usually will close once you get the ground game in effect. Think about wars. Wars are usually won on the ground. Most wars aren't won from the air. The air is what gives the support for the ground game to come in and capture the land. All right, so the easiest way to start equipping this team for marketing, generate all of these leads, is to start mapping out all of these processes that you are currently doing. So if you don't have a marketing team doing this, then let's map out the processes that you're currently doing so that when we go find that first person, we can start to equip and to train them. That leads us to the T of our PTA process, and that is training. And so when we look at training, we hear about all that, and so we always say this: what's a military command and a sports team? What do they have in common if they're not fighting a battle or playing the game? They're training. In fact, they're relentlessly training. Well, whether it's the regular season, the playoffs, the preseason, whatever, they are training. It used to be that sports was kind of a seasonal element. You know, if you're a football player, you kind of played in the fall and that sort of thing. Well, now it's year-round. Those folks are training year-round. They're studying film year-round. They're constantly in the game year-round. And so we've got to be in a season of our business to where there is no season. We're always in a state of training the process that we've lined out. And so once you've got these processes mapped out in marketing, then we start to train those processes. How do we do that? We train those through two methods. Number one is what we call the marketing and sales meeting. That should happen once a week, 1 hour, agenda-driven, leader-led, and the leader does not have to be you. In fact, I encourage it to not be you. We've got 4 core meetings in our business, and I don't lead any of them. We've got team members. By the way, it's a nice way to be able to raise up new leadership within your business is to give them responsibility of running these meetings. But in order for them to effectively run the meeting, they've got to have a meeting agenda for that. So your marketing meeting, you can combine your sales meeting with that if you'd like, but your marketing meeting is going to have a time to celebrate big wins. Where did we get some leads last week, right? Then you can go in and start holding accountable the metrics that generate those leads or lead you to those leads. And you can start to train on these processes. So if you don't know what to do in a marketing meeting, if nothing else, report on leads and start training on process. And that becomes your training hub for marketing to be able to do that. And then once you do that, you can also create an accountability structure within those meetings. So you can start to track both on activities and results. So 2 elements of accountability: actions and results. And so the actions are what predictably help the team get to the ultimate results of leads. So this is the result that you want to be able to track, but what are those activities that are important? We call those leading indicators that are important for you to be able to get the results that you ultimately want. Well, your marketing and sales meeting is the place where you can both identify process, train the process, and hold that process accountable. You may not know this, but your time as an owner, statistically, you can look this up, is somewhere between $200 to $1,000 per hour. Go look it up. It's crazy when you think about it. So that means every time you log onto your website's back end and start to update your website, you're updating your website at a minimum of $200 per hour. There's somebody else in this world who will do that for $40 an hour or $50 an hour so that you can focus your time on the strategic things, the high-level things to ensure that these are being achieved and every other system of your business is functioning properly in the way that it should. So start realizing how much your time is worth. Even your business, well, it's just me. Yes, it's still worth $200 an hour minimum. And so start delegating this to other people, but make sure they're all aligned to that one focus. Now, I know it creates a little anxiety when you think about bringing in new people and all that stuff. Don't worry, we've helped you. If you go click on the link in the description below, we've actually created a video around training new hires. And at the end of that video, we've got a free gift that is a handbook, and I promise you it's killer. In fact, our team has actually loaded it up with more templates than I even knew about. They did it behind my back, but it's to your benefit, and I think it'll be really helpful. So go click on the link in the description below, and it'll allow us to accomplish our mission of why I'm doing this, and that's to liberate you from the chaos that you feel so that you can make time for the things that matter most.